For example, let's say I follow Mike and I love his dog and so on and so forth, and I keep trying to keep up, I keep trying to breed what he's
Outbreed
breeding.
Mike.
His vision is so past what he has right now.
Yeah.
Like what he has right now is like, I know in your head he's already working on the improvements. So by me, like always trying to chase whatever he's breeding or what the next man is breeding or trying to breed what's hot, like what's hot now currently is already what's hot. You're not going to catch up to what's up right now unless you have something hot right now.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of look at what you think is your vision and follow that. Otherwise, you'll never be the person setting the trend. You'll be following the trend. At least that's what I was taught.
Yeah, no, but see, a lot of people need to hear that. A lot of people need to hear that. They see what's hot right now. Like, I want to go jump on that stud.
You're past this already. Like the dogs you got right now, granted they're the badass dogs, but I know in your head you're like, I need to do this.
No, I was on a live and they were like, you still work on your yard? I was like, all breeders need to be working on their yard consistently. You need different type of breedings. Exactly. And like the money breedings, I got away from money breedings now. Now it's all structure. Oh, that's all I focus on. What the female's missing. That is it.
Yep. 100%.
So, Mr. Angel, DoubleMuscleLineBulls. What's going on next? Where's the next course? I know that we have this online course that we've been teasing that's coming very soon. That you guys need to be on the lookout for. I don't know why you guys are playing with education. My man already told you it's literally cutting the line. You know what I mean? So if you're one of those guys that goes to Disneyland or these amusement parks and pays for that pass, we got something for that ass. You feel me?
Yeah.
Pause, bro. Hold on. Time out. Holy moly, guacamole. Yeah. Hey, but real talk, man. Education is what's gonna help keep this thing alive, and that's what helps everything in general. You know what I mean? So,
like Mike was saying, like the whole aspect of like if I teach, if another breeder becomes more educated, that's when we truly elevate the breed. We're giving each other a game on how we could be better breeders, because then down the line, let's just say I teach so you should be breeding your dogs this way, so on and so forth, and he gets good, he gets almost just as good as me. Then it's almost like, well, hey, now I can turn around and when I'm ready to go outside of my yard, this guy's got some really nice stuff.
Right.
That's how we just make the breed better. I'm the only person that has the best stuff. Then I can eventually be myself.
Yeah, and you've also shown that on the education side by just hooking up with Patty. You know what I mean? Because if it was a breeding situation, two breeders aren't going to do that. It's like, I'm the best in Europe and you're the best in America. Fuck you, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
You're my competition.
Bitch. So just by you hooking up and doing stuff with Patty, and you guys being able to host the courses that have been ultra successful, I think it's super dope.
I seen a meme on Instagram and it says something about like stop with the hating or whatever the case may be, like the people that are like negative, because the people at the top are just working together. They're not hating on each other.
Yeah.
Like, and I find that to be true. Like the more like bigger breeds that deal with stuff like that, like everybody's like, it's all about how can we work together.
Yeah.
So
some.
The ones I deal with.
There's a lot that look at you as the competition when they see like, if I come out with a brand new chocolate stud, instantly this you're competition to the all chocolate studs, and that's a wrong attitude. Yeah, man. That's the wrong.
But yet again, you just don't surround yourself with those breeders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
but I will say though, I never allowed a stud owner that I didn't like to prevent me from breeding to a dog that I did like.
Yeah,
that's another thing too. You know what I'm saying? Even if the stud owner was kind of a jerk, as long as his terms wasn't like kind of messed up where I would get screwed over. If I felt like I needed that dog in my yard, I didn't allow ego to get in my way either, though. Man, but it's a fine line. I know.
Yeah, my line is short. I will not do business with anybody that is just. Yeah. And if it's not smooth, business, like all of a sudden the package is supposed to get shipped out.
It's hard because if this person, say for example, I mean, it's been a long time since I had to do something like that, but like when I was coming up, if I feel like that dog is it for my yard. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Man, there's people like they say people breed to certain people.
Yeah,
because that business.
That's true though. No,
that customer service is a 1,000%. Like if this guy says he's shipping you a box at this time, or he's gonna meet you at the vet at exactly this time,
that's big.
Or if you send him the money and like, hey, the semen's bad, he ships it back to you. Like, that's good business.
Two things for sure. Like, that's really kind of the test of a stud owner is not when things go good, when things go bad. You know, and like I've seen some breeders that like yet again,
Like you shouldn't be screwing over your customers.
yeah, exactly. Like I'll give you an example. Shout out to Garden State June. I did one breeding with him, and he was just like a gem. He was awesome. You know, great customer service. I did 5 breedings after that. So
See?
yeah,
But that's because that every single one of those breedings was easy, like
Yeah,
smooth,
exactly.
and the
Yep,
vibe was
yep.
good. You know,
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing. Is like just like how we talking now. Like that's what it was. Hey, what's going on, bro? Like, and then, yeah,
you got to think like I've locked in a stud where all of a sudden, hey, hey, my female's bleeding. 2 days later, I'm like, hold on, this guy didn't even send me a message yet. You know what I mean? And I'm like, hold on, I'm calling him. I'm hitting his phone, like, man, all right, this guy. You know what I mean? I've dealt with that in the past.
Yeah.
So that's also why I respond right away when I see people.
Yeah,
I talk to them quick, you know, because I know what it's like when you're sitting here like, oh man, is he gonna send the box? Are we gonna meet? Oh,
yeah. That's huge perspective. Putting yourself in their shoes.
yeah,
That's huge. But on another quick little topic, so I'm gonna ask. So I'm always talking about free game, but I want to see what's some free game that you got? Some free game that like we were talking about the timing of when pups are gonna be born, right? So if you're cool, like if you're cool with giving out maybe a little gem or two,
because you know what, some people they be like, oh, he's coming, you know what I mean? But I mean,
this is what you do.
This is
what you do.
I do.
I want to hear.
Okay, when anytime I have a female that's pregnant,
okay,
I only do temperature.
You only do temp.
I only do the temp.
Gotcha.
That's it. And on day 60, I'm doing C-sections no matter what. I used to do day 59. Okay. I used to do day 59.
But you're only counting from one day.
From the day they did the surgical. Now, if I did an AI and a surgical, then I'm going to take the temp all the way up until 3 days after I did the AI. So, but usually the AI is either a day before the surgical.
Okay.
And if on day 60 her temperature is still 101, I'll go ahead and wait another day or two.
Nice.
But I used to do C-sections on day 59. And a lot of people be like, how many preemies? I've never had a preemie litter. Nice. I've never had a preemie litter. I haven't had an emergency C-section in 10 years. Wow. In 10 years. So that's why when people are like, oh, you should do the reverse PG, I'm like, I've never done a reverse PG. Hey. Never. But I've told people, because I actually had someone use Beastie Boy, and on the day of the West Coast, they called me, and it was day 55, and their female was at 98, but also had the discharge.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, hey, he's in labor. I was like, take her to the vet. The vet refused to do the C-section, said, we're not doing it until day 60. And I told her, I was like, hey, go to another vet because your dog is going to end up dying. Yeah. Either a puppy stuck, something's wrong. Take her to another vet. She called me and she was like, are you sure? I was like, look, I'm 100% sure. Do the C-section. Okay. And sure enough, she didn't lose one puppy.
Nice. Nice. And yeah, I'm a big advocate for like, hey, like if it works for you,
I'm not. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because I've done C-sections on day 56, 57, multiple times.
Got you.
Multiple times, and you got to think I'm having 6 to 8 litters, maybe even 12 litters a year.
Got you. I do the same exact thing with temp. Like, well, a little bit different. I mean, I do temp. You know, I obviously do my reverse and I cross-reference. So I do both at the same time, reverse and temperature, just in case, you know, maybe her temp,
but,
you know.
Honestly, when did people start doing the reverse PG? Honestly, because when I first got in the game, I never even heard of anybody doing reverse PGs.
I'll say this, like, so maybe in the game, they weren't doing it for so long.
Other breeds.
But yeah, like other breeds and stuff, like reproductive specialists, they were doing it.
I mean, because you know, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
It's been around for a little while.
When did it honestly the bully breeders? Because
when the bully breeders started doing it, I would say, you know what? It probably started. It probably I would say, probably in like maybe 5-6 years, because I know progesterone testing got really big when everyone was getting those Wanfo machines. When everybody was the guy Love My Pups was like promoting it, and everybody started using it. And then shortly after everybody was doing progesterone, all of a sudden it was like, why are you doing a reverse progesterone? But I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, yet again, with same thing, it works for me. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that just finding whatever works for you and just running with it, and especially if you don't have no problems with it, and stick with it.
It's just because for me, like with PGs, I in my own opinion, I don't know how true, but would stress and other factors make those PG tests off?
I've never had that issue. I mean, I don't think
That's because that's
so. Here's one thing I will say though: progesterone levels do fluctuate throughout the day.
Yeah.
So you could test her in the morning; she might be a 4. You might test her in the afternoon; she might be like a 5 or 6, or depending on what machine you have. But my question to you now is: I got another question for some game, right? And I think this is a good one. I think breeders actually want to know this, right?
because I've never done a reverse PG, and to me, I'd be like, they're not always that accurate. So
Yeah, a lot comes into play. Who's doing it? You know, what machine do they have?
how good do they know that machine?
Exactly, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know. But my question to you, and I think a lot of breeders would want to know, as someone at your level, what numbers you do it, because they ask me all the time. What numbers do you breed your females at, progesterone wise?
Okay.
Ooh,
Because because I try to hit 20
okay.
to mid 20s. I try.
Okay. Now off of an IDEX or
IDEX.
what machine? Okay,
IDEX.
IDEX machine.
IDEX.
Okay.
But
So you go to like the vet to get your
yes,
progesterone.
I drive all the way to Hacienda Heights, Colima, which is like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours,
but you know
3 hours to get home.
But you know it's being done right.
But I know it's getting done right. I know they're one of the most accurate right here in Southern California, and I've heard of a couple other places that I'm willing to try.
Yeah,
but
if it's working,
it's like why do I want to try it? It's so far.
Machine. Yeah,
But I have hit females over 30, close to 40, and in right there in those numbers, I'm actually 10 for 10.
But now you were talking about on a surgical
only.
and one breeding.
And one breeding, yes. And people are like, oh, well, the litter was small. I'm like, well, 4 to 6 almost every time.
Yeah. Wow.
4 to 6.
So your main go-to is always a surgical. That's what you like to do, right?
Always a surgical.
Your breedings, you just do one breeding, and that's it. So timing has to be.
Well, it depends if I'm using my stud.
Yeah.
I will do an AI.
Okay.
I will do an AI and a surgical. I will do both.
So even in your own in-house breedings, you do surgical.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's interesting.
Always, always. It's always
That's cool.
I've had better experiences with it, and I haven't tried the TCI. I haven't tried that exactly yet, but it's something I've actually seen good results from other people that have used.
Oh yeah,
my studs.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll just give some game real quick on the TCI. Is like I didn't realize how powerful TCI was until I was reading one of the veterinary books, and they actually say that the TCI, they're actually putting the semen virtually in the same area as if you're getting a surgical.
Oh shit!
Now, when you look at like the female uterus, like you look at the entirety of the female reproductive, their vulva, their vagina, whatever you want to call it. So if you look, there's literally like the uterine horns. That's where they put the surgical. But right below that is where a TCI would be. So you're literally probably a TCI. Remember, I'm looking at a huge picture, on a female dog. It's actually quite small. You're probably like inches away. You're probably a couple inches away from where they would do a surgical, and you don't have to put the dog under, all that stuff. So that's when I was kind of like, you know what? Let me start giving this thing more of a go. And we've had a lot of success. Good
results.
Yeah, a lot of success.
And those numbers are usually below 20, right?
So for TCI, we use a Wanfo machine, so it's a little bit different. But we've been TCIing around like I don't know what that would relate to on the IDEX machine because it's like Fahrenheit and Celsius. Yeah. So even though I think like 38 degrees Celsius is like 100 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. So here it would be 100 degrees. Over like in Europe it'd be like 38. So the same thing with like the progesterone machines. So 20 on my machine may be something different on the IDEX machine. No. But what I found was we usually breed around for TCI around like 25, I would say, somewhere in that ballpark. And big litters, get nice big litters. So and you could do more than one.
Oh yeah. It's not the surgery.
Exactly. But yet again, somebody has to know what they're doing because if they don't, they're just doing an AI.
Regular AI. And see, that's where I mean, I seen people they do them TCIs and it's only like 3 minutes, not even that, 2-3 minutes. And when you go to the vet, I guess there's a vet. It's 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%. And like yet again, for the most part, it's very simple. It's very easy. Like the dogs are, like yet again, I don't have to put them under or anything like that, and it works out. So hey, something worth trying.
Definitely a plus. It's definitely a plus. At least they ain't doing the make them lock anymore.
Yeah, bro.
Oh man,
my
I seen it only once and I never did it again.
Yeah.
I had them. They used to have this thing, the stand. I don't want to call it.
Nah.
I don't want to say it, but
The
they used
breeding stand.
Yeah, they used to call it something else.
Oh shit.
It's called a stand.
Oh shit.
And I it was when I first got into breeding.
Yeah.
And I seen that, and this was at least what 12, 13 years ago as far as the bullies.
Yeah.
And man, my female was going crazy. Never again. Yeah, even with my Doberman right now, I don't even let her lock up.
Wow. I agree with that because I remember coming up in the game and I asked my mentor, I was like, yo, like, why are we doing AIs? Like, why aren't we, letting them naturally breed or whatever? And he told me a story about a dog named Donkey. He's a real popular dog back in the day or something like that. And what ended up happening was he got a sexually transmitted disease. So he became sterile because of it.
Oh, shit.
So actually, there is sexually transmitted diseases that dogs can catch if you let them naturally breed that can cause them to go sterile. So that's when, after that, yeah.
Dirty bitch.
Yo, you know what? You need to cut that and start that or something in the video. People going to be like, what are they talking about? Put that at the
you know what? I've always wondered, like, it has to be possible because there's some dirty dick, dirty motherfucker, dirty dick motherfucker.
So, yo, cut that and put that at the very beginning of the video. Yo, they're gonna say, what the hell are they talking about? But yeah. So,
but my female was going crazy, and then the male was biting her. Man, you know what? And I just ever since then, only surgicals.
Gotcha.
And that's just from that day. It was too much stress on my female, and then I was wondering if I ever had a stud, I wouldn't want him to go. I would just.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like yet again,
they're looking at you. They're looking at you, and they're like, "You're gonna let them do this to me?" It's like, that's how I really felt, man. And they're like that. They're like, because
they go crazy.
It ties down their neck.
Oh, you talking about the stand?
The stand? Yeah, they tie down their neck. They tie down their arms. They tie down the back. Tie down the hip. Yeah,
and that's a lot of.
And then the male mounts them. Yep. And they help.
They help stay still. And a lot of game breeders used to use that stuff.
Exactly.
A lot of game breeders used to use that. You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
No, and that's something I would. Man, I seen it one time, and I was like, you know what? I can't, because I actually, I pet every single one of my dogs every day. Yeah.
Yep.
And they're looking at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're looking at you. Man. No.
So what was like the deciding factor that made you say, I'm just gonna do surgicals? Like, cause you could have done AIs or TCIs or anything else. What made you say like this one day I'm just doing surgical?
It was the dogs I were using.
Or was it like maybe someone told you something like what was that defining day that made you say, yo, I want to just do surgicals going forward?
It was the dogs I was using, and they were basically putting me up on game. Like I never even heard of a PG test until Goliath, the one on G2. His owner Juan, he told me, he was like, hey, go get a PG. Let me know the numbers, and I'll help you out with your breeding. And then when you're ready, you're gonna have to come down and do a surgical AI. I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
He's like, look, they're gonna cut her open, put everything on her horns. I was like,
yes.
what the fuck are horns?
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? But he told me, and then even when I used Uso, Miyagi, I used all them dogs, Ichiban.
So after the first time of doing a surgical, you was
once every single one of these guys, and I'm paying these guys top dollars, and they're telling me, hey, this is more of a chance to get your female pregnant, and it's less stress on her.
Yeah.
And there was another one too. I think one of the guys even told me that you could say if there is an infection and it's kind of on the outside, or if there's anything you can actually, or if they're dirty and they put the AI in them. This is what he told me a long time ago. Okay. Now it's like I flush out my females. I don't really worry about it.
Yeah.
But they told me in the beginning, sometimes there's bacteria. And when they do the AIs, this is what he was telling me to convince me to pay for the surgical.
Gotcha.
Because at first I was like, no, I want to do everything natural.
But what was he saying? So he said that something about an AI.
Sometimes you'll if they do have an infection.
Okay.
Because I didn't know about flushing at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, if your female has some kind of infection, they'll actually push the infection farther into her uterus.
Okay.
But I was like, man, fuck. I don't know if he was just scaring me. But the surgical, he's like, oh, we just gonna bypass everything and don't worry.
Okay.
I don't know. That's at that time. Now I flush my.
You flush them anyway,
and I only do surgicals.
Gotcha.
And I only do surgicals.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though, because like for example, like with some of the dogs that I want to go do a TCI on, all of a sudden I check and I'm like she's pulling blood. You know what I'm saying? So then we got to turn around and like usually, regardless, even if I was gonna do a surgical, I would still flush her out, you know, because she's got all that blood in there. So what I'll do is like I'll stick an AI rod in and I'll just pump some air in, and it's almost like when you're siphoning gas. So it causes the air and blood to now come reverse back out through the AI rod. It just comes right out.
Ever since I started doing those antibiotics and everything, as soon as they start, the day they start bleeding, ever since maybe 7-8 years ago, I want to say, I haven't dealt with pulling.
Nice.
Since then, I haven't. And I've had people, because I let people drop their dogs off. Certain people that I'm actually really cool with, I'll let them drop their dogs off, and I tell them like, man, your dog's pulling. The chances of her taking, I just tell them like that.
Yeah.
Hey, the chances of your dog taking, like, oh, well, can you still do it? I'm like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I was like, but I'm gonna give her all the meds. Just buy all the meds.
Yeah. No, I get you. I mean,
but I do the massage the stomach, hold them up with their butt and try to get them like that, and I've. That's the worst. But I mean, it's. I hate having to grab them and stick the AI in them.
Oh, to do the AI.
I hate doing it because I hate it because sometimes some of their females, they're not. They're wiggling.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
They're wiggling. They're
I'll tell you what. I had a female, a buddy of mine. We had to do a TCI. Her numbers were just so high, and we couldn't get in the vet's office to do a surgical. We had no choice but to do a TCI.
They wouldn't even do it if it was high.
Huh?
They wouldn't even do the surgical because it was too hot?
No, because the vet's office was closed. We weren't going to be able to do it. Okay. So we wound up, we were like, we'll do a TCI or whatever. But this female, like, she was just not having it. Yeah. And I know why. And it was because the person who had bred her, like the person that did the AI or whatever, the last heat she was in, she must have been out of season or right out of season. Right. She was too tight. And they stuck the AI rod in. And I mean, that's like putting a freaking watermelon through a gardening hose. Yeah. So
start screaming.
Oh man. So I don't even know.
Yeah, traumatized.
Yeah, she was traumatized. Yeah. So I mean, what we kind of had to do is we gave her a light sedative, and then she then like, because at first she was just the Bill Cosby stuff.
Water fizzing.
Quaaludes or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, seriously. I mean, what we wound up having to do is because she just, I mean, and it was a Frenchie, and he was like he was screaming the dog's name. He was yelling at like, "Stay still," and she just was not having it. And then especially if you're trying to get the AI rod or TCI rod in there, and she's all tight. I mean, she's gonna try to keep that cervix closed as much as possible. It's gonna be very hard to get everything through, especially with the TCI gun that I had.
See, that's and when I first started using all these dogs, and they don't give you at the time, they wouldn't give you multiple semen to do an AI or surgery. That was another reason. You're like, and each dog I used was $5,000 a piece getting into the dog game, except for Uso. I think it was 2,500 or 3K at that time. But you got to think Miyagi.
No, but that's some serious stuff on it. All of them,
and they were like, "Hey, surgical." Wow. Honestly, I didn't even know there was a repeat. I didn't even know there was a such thing as repeat. I thought it was one breeding and done. Nobody ever taught me that.
Yeah,
that was something I learned with George. George was actually the first one. Was like, "Hey, nah, your dog didn't take." I'm like, "Nah, it's all you get a repeat." I was like, "What?" Wow. Because that was my first year, first year going into my second year of breeding.
Okay. That's crazy, man.
Oh, trust me, 5,000 at the time. Like,
I would have been like, what? Yo, and that's another thing. That's another thing, like, too, like, sometimes it don't work out breeding to the stud, right? Like, I'll give you a prime example. I got studs I locked in, I never even used. Yeah. I feel like a lot of breeders, the more breeders I talk to about that, like, a lot of breeders be like, yeah, I got studs, I locked them in, I never even used them. It's just on the shelf or whatever,
I'm not gonna lie. When if I'm locking in a stud, I'm coming. I'm coming because there's been times where I've had like 7 dogs in heat, and I'm like, ooh, okay, who's gonna? And it's like this. That's my game right there. That's like,
you know what it was for me when I got in the game. It was like it was moving so fast that by the time, like, if I missed a heat or whatever the case may be, it was like. It was something new and hot out, and especially it went so fast when I was in the game when it went from standard to pocket to exotic.
Yeah.
So it was almost like if I had a stud that had locked in that he was a pocket, and I'm already in exotics now, it's like, what am I gonna do with that? You know what I'm saying? So like,
Sometimes you create. My thing is this piecing the studs to the females that I have.
100%.
And I'll go look. Okay, oh, this dog's cool. This dog's cool. This guy. Oh no, I don't know about this guy and this girl. You know what I mean? Or I'll be like, oh, Sonic's good for this. BC's for this.
I feel like for example, like I got some studs that I have studs I want to use for certain things. I feel like I create dogs to breed to certain dogs. So like for example, I got a dog that I had purchased him, and I was like, okay, I got to get puppies off of this female bred to this stud, so then I could breed this puppy to this stud. Like I feel like it's I guess at the end of the day, yeah, bringing the right dog to the other right dog, not just by chance breeding. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've been doing. Like I try to create females to take to my studs, I guess you could say.
Yes.
That's the best way to word it.
And if I get a stud, that's the same thing. Just
like,
exact.
I create the female that I want to take to the stud.
Yeah, because my goal when I use a stud is to get a female off of that stud.
Yep.
Like right now, I'm lining up, like I told you already, like I'm lining up for next year for my newest stud.
Got you.
And that's the point of me using these outside dogs, is I want those, so the watered down a little bit to go directly to my stud, who's inbred.
Yeah.
Like he's a Beastie Boy son bred to a Sonic daughter. So he's 4 times Sonic. I can't keep coming back. It's not. But 4 times. He's bred to produce
100%
outside my yard. So by me using outside studs,
see,
I get all excited about that.
Because when you're a creator, like that's what excites you. Like, we could talk about money to a blue in the face. Oh, I sold a dog for this, that, whatever. What really excites me is like when you're producing the look that you like.
That's the whole reason why I got into the game. 100%. It had a lot of people got in the game because they wanted to make that quick buck. I got in because I love the creation part.
I'm not even gonna lie. When I got into the game, I didn't even know there was money. I didn't even know there was money in the game like that. Like I got into it because I just wanted some stuff, some crazy. I wanted some crazy stuff that I knew I was either gonna have to do one or two. I knew it was gonna be one or two things. Either I was gonna have to purchase the dog that I wanted, the look that I wanted, and it was going to probably cost me around $50K, or create the look that I wanted, and then I can continue to reproduce it and be able to offer it to the world as well. Mm-hmm. So that's when I was like, I'm just going to go the breeder's approach. And like I said, I love, when you get those results you want, man, and you're tightly breeding your stuff, like that's real breeder shit right there, bro. Like money, like the money's cool, but that's just a byproduct of when you're breeding shit that you like in your vision. Yeah,
once you start producing, that's where the money is. It's not that long road, because you don't know how many times I've been like my first pick and someone comes and offers me something good, but for that first pick, and the only reason why you keep that first pick is so you can take that to a top stud and be like, I know I'm gonna have 5 of her next time. That was the whole reason.
What I've learned with bloodlines, like for example, if I came to your yard and wanted to buy one of your first pick, like females, for example, I'm not coming there. I'm not buying your first pick female, even though theoretically I am. I'm buying your first pick female bred to that first pick female. You know what I'm saying? Like first pick female after first pick female after first pick female. That's what you're buying. You're
skipping into where that yard is at.
Exactly.
And you just bought off those 5-6 years.
You shaved yourself a lot of time.
That's why I tell people I'm not selling my first pick.
Nah.
I'm not selling the first pick now, but now I'm at the point where I have consistent. I don't even want to show the stuff. I want to wait until they're 7-8 months old to then show, like, hey, this is what I did. Like, I'm about to bust out a Beastie Boy Pebbles daughter, and this girl, you know what I mean? She's perfect. She's a little too small. She's about this big, but she doesn't look small when you see her.
Okay.
If I show a picture of her, they're gonna think she's big, but no bullshit.
That's the key thing. It's like sometimes seeing dogs in person too. Like a lot of studs, especially in the beginning. At least for me, I went and saw them in person because of the fact that I was like, I want to ensure that I'm getting exactly, the look that I want, that the look that I have in my head. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, anything else? I mean, shit, I could do this all day.
My man's the one that got to catch the flight. You feel me?
Right, wifey gonna kill me.
Shit.
Oh man.
Shit.
So, Do outro? Okay. So I believe
What time's your flight?
my flight is tonight, but we still gotta go all the way down to San Francisco. But anyway, as always, I love coming to the West Coast. Shout out to the Exotic Network for having
Come
me.
on, man. It's the West Coast
Amazing.
family.
Yo, shout out to the Bully Camp Line Mike. We've spoken on Instagram a few times, but to meet in person, it's all love, man. Like, and I mean the friendships that I made out here, you guys, it's awesome. It's epic. And I can't wait to do it again.
Appreciate you
Come
coming out.
sooner.
Definitely, man.
Appreciate my brother
Not in the
Mike
middle of a hurricane.
for pulling up. Hurricane Hillary.
See, let me say something real quick.
Go ahead.
Quick. Is like I see a lot of different videos out there and stuff like that, but I feel like these types of conversations, these types of videos that last a lifetime, that a breeder 5-10 years from now could come back and watch. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm all about when I do my videos on YouTube. So I think this was definitely
one of those most epic
make sure
podcasts, man. We had to come back the right way. I appreciate you being a part of it. My brother Mike, like I said, for pulling up. We still got to get the one-on-one crazy joint with him and the whole background. You know, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that, man. Don't. He be busy. He blames it on me, but he be hella busy too. Man, that's how you. Hey, that's how. Hey, that's how you know shit goes down. It's like when you live within miles of somebody and you still can't make it happen. It's not that you don't want to make it happen. It's just, hey, I got 4 breeders today. Oh, I gotta go drive to LA. Oh, I gotta go do this. I'm like,
the day was perfect.
Or he'll call me.
I wouldn't have been able to.
He'll call me up and he'll be like, and I know it's good, but I'm so buried in edits, and he'll be like, just bring the computer. Knowing as soon as I get there, it's a wrap. It's shot.
Now, there's been a couple times we drank all night. Didn't even do nothing.
But yo, I'll just say this last thing is like for the person that did stay and watch this, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you share this with your other breeder friends because this is some, like I said, this is some game that is very rare. You get breeders of you know how long we've been doing this for, being able to sit in on a conversation like this and you hearing it from both sides. You know,
definitely you hear sometimes you're on the right path. When you hear other breeders talk, you're like,
exactly,
I'm on it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
a breeder. Hold on, man. This mic is shining.
It's over.
It's all right. You got it right here. You got it.
To have a breeder from coast to coast, we got the West Coast over here and the East Coast over here sitting in the same room to give you guys game, basically covering the United States and just the past 10 years of the dog game and what's going on. Man, come on, man. Only the Exotic Network could bring you something like that. And you know, it's not just me in here. I'm nothing without the heady monster, man. My boy Wilson back there, man. This is what makes up the Exotic Network, Pushing P. And we're just trying to continue bringing you guys the best content that we can, man. I appreciate everybody out there, especially these two gentlemen. Double Muscle Line Bulls in the building, Breeders Hacks, check them out, man. My man Mike over here with some of the hottest studs in the game. You can run them down if you want to, or you could check them out and tap in, man. You know, Legendary Sonic, man. We had a whole conversation on Brindles and niggas just shut up because no matter what they pulled up, however it came out, it still wasn't right, man. We got Tails and we got this Beastie Boy, man, who's, you know, he's becoming a young legend in his own. But we're gonna get out of here. Y'all know what we do. Chime in. It's the Exotic Network.